Hello, this is Joshua for Frost Dragon Designs, and today I'd like to talk to you about my computer science cat, hard enamel pin. This pin is part of my More Cats Doing Science collection. The More Cats Doing Science pin collection features more than 35 designs of cats doing science and science-adjacent activities. Now let's get into the design. As I start on this design, you'll see that I brought in a copy of the Electrical Engineer cat because I wanted to reuse the table. Now, this is fairly fitting because the Electrical Engineer cat was inspired by my father, who was a tinkerer of electronics for as far back as I can remember, and also very big into early computers. I grew up in the 80s and 90s, and as far back as I can recall, there has always been a PC in our household. Now, this is an oddity because we grew up fairly poor, but my dad was also into ham radio, and he was a very handy person. And I think there was a fair amount of like horse trading, I'll fix this for you if you give me that component kind of thing. We never had an up-to-date latest and greatest type of computer. But, while everyone was out there getting their 386s, we had, a couple 8086s and 286s knocking around the basement. I picked up a fair amount of computer skill. And what was interesting about it was that was, clearly the realm of nerddom for the longest time. And then suddenly in the mid-90s, it was like, suddenly that skill set that I had was seen as valuable and desirable because everyone and their brother was getting online and, going and buying a computer. And, they didn't encounter issues and they'd be like, I just don't know what to do. And it's like, oh, well, that's super easy to fix. Here we go. I remember in high school, I did some networking work for small businesses part-time. We had, like I said, we had a number of computers in the basement and we ran Windows 3.1.1 for work groups. Like having an in-house personal network of computers in the 90s was basically unheard of in my sphere. But that's exactly what we had because that was something my dad was into. And while he didn't have a lot of money, he found a way to get components, by trading and whatnot. So that was made for a very interesting childhood. So computers have always been a part of, things that I am interested in as a result of that. Okay, now for the duck. So a number of people asked me about the duck. They were like, hey, that duck is super cute. Why is it there? What does it have to do with computer science? And so there's a thing in computer science called rubber duck debugging. And so debugging is when you are writing software and there's a problem with it and you're trying to figure out what is the cause of that problem or bug. So rubber duck debugging, and it goes by a number of other names as well, but it is where you articulate in natural language what each line of your code is doing. You are explaining your code to the rubber duck. And the concept is that by having to explain what each line is doing, you'll come across something and then you're saying what it does, and it either doesn't match what you're looking at or doesn't match what you thought that you were trying to write code to do. And the idea is it's basically like explaining it to someone else will help you figure out where you have made an error so that you can then correct it or debug your software. Like I said, this goes by a number of names. A lot of people use this methodology. It doesn't have to be a rubber duck. It could be a teddy bear. It could be an action figure. Who knows? But since rubber duck debugging has been a coined term that a lot of people tend to reference, I thought that this would be a really fun kind of Easter egg for this pin. If you happen to be in computer science, in programming, in any sort of code work, this might be fun for you. If not, it's just a cute little rubber duck on the desk, and there's nothing wrong with that either, so, Anyway, if you'd liked watching me design this pin and hear me talk about some things, please go ahead and like and subscribe. I try to release at least one new video every week, sometimes it's two, and I would absolutely love to have you along for the next one. So thank you so much for your time, and have a great rest of your day.